Orgasmic enlightenment, where the sexual and spiritual come together. I'm Kim Anami, and I'm a holistic sex and relationship coach and a vaginal weightlifter. In this show, we explore all things intimate. I believe that our sexual energy is life force, creative energy, and we can use it to shape our worlds, strengthen our relationships, and self actualize. I blend the most avant-garde information from neuroscience, ancient sexual practices like Tantra and Taoism, to renegade wellness modalities to show you how to create gourmet sex in your lives. Come one, come all. 9 qualities of a modern alpha male. I have forever been a champion and aficionado of the re-emergence and love of all things holy, fuckable, and wild. The alpha male. There has been so much noise and distortion over the past decades on toxic masculinity. The only thing toxic about masculinity is the absence of it. Real men are strong and tender, wild and caring, powerful and compassionate, dominant and create containers for safety. The things that most people have come to associate with masculinity or toxic masculinity, such as abuses of power and misdirected violence, aren't actually alpha male characteristics. That is beta bitch behavior. In this interview with Ben, our well-fucked all-star, we also spoke to last week in part 1 of our conversation, Soft Cock to Super Cock. Today, he's speaking on his journey to define and embody the modern alpha male. Well-fucked all-stars! Talked about going from your conditioning and obviously like having a challenging time to really occupy your masculinity into more alpha male territory. How would you describe what that is to you, being an alpha male and adapting that energy? Because people could ask, are alpha males born or made, right? Can every man be an alpha male? And I have an answer to that, but what would you say about that step in your journey?
Yeah, I think just because you're born a man, that doesn't mean you are masculine. I think masculinity, in my perspective, is something that's earned, and that rent is due every day. And so, masculinity just only really truly comes from like a real, like true dedication and commitment to it. I just don't believe everybody's really willing to pay that price for it. I don't think everybody's willing to be uncomfortable enough or comfortable enough with the uncomfortable to like get through to some of those things that separate kind of the alpha males from all the beta males. But I do feel like the energy of alpha males is really what the feminine energy craves, and they settle for like beta male energy. But I think pure feminine energy wants and needs and feels safest and happiest within an alpha male energy. And I remember one of the breakout calls, this guy was really trying hard in the polarity section of the course to like try and take a leadership role in the bedroom. And it was one of the times that it really hit me, the way he described things. He was a little bit like a fish out of water, like in trying some of these things. And his wife just started laughing, just basically just started laughing at him. And I was kind of saddened at the emasculation that must have felt like for him. But I also recognized kind of through his story in a little different way for the first time that your masculinity and your alpha male status in the bedroom isn't earned in the bedroom. Like that shit's earned outside, and you get to be that way in the bedroom. Like you can't just walk into the bedroom and pretend to like play this role that like that you're not. But like one of my thoughts about that is that uh it is a process. Masculinity and being masculine is a process of becoming, and not everyone is really willing to pay that price, and not everyone will. do that.
And what's the
So
price? What do you have to pay? What's the price of admission?
how much time do you have? The short, I mean, look, the short answer is you really truly have to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. In other words, you've got to be willing to deal with your own shit. You've got to own and take accountability for the shit that you fuck up in life, or character traits, or whatever it is that you've got going on, like the bullshit that happens to you that's not your fault. It's still your responsibility to deal with it. Um, and so there's that piece of just being really like willing to go inward, look at your demons. I think another huge piece that a lot of men are unwilling to pay is the price of vulnerability, to be vulnerable. I think pure masculinity is actually rather tender at times, quite tender and quite compassionate and quite kind and quite loving, like so much so that some people might not even think that that's masculine, but those dudes, like, I can't tell you how many, tough motorcycle guys. I love motorcycles and like motorcycle adventures, and you'll see this old guy that you would not want to meet in an alley at night, right? Like he just is that guy, and you could just feel it from him. And yet he's the softest, like teddy bear to his friends, or to his granddaughter will come up. And I mean, that's the thing. Masculinity isn't just this tough bullshit guy, like, all the time. Like, so vulnerability is one of those prices that I don't think a lot of men are willing to pay, to actually be masculine, to be vulnerable, to be willing to share, to feel, to connect, right? And so um, there's a lot of false alpha male like people out there, and they're the ones that aren't vulnerable. They just are bravado, right? They're not willing to feel, they're not willing to connect with anybody. They're so closed off, and they're just focused maybe on physical appearance or boisterous type behavior and attitude, and they're thinking that's masculinity. And so, yeah, two of the biggest things I think are those, right? One is being willing to be comfortable in the uncomfortable, which something I definitely learned from the SEALs. I can't take credit for that. That's their motto. And then the other one is being willing to be vulnerable. Those are two of the steepest prices that men have a hard time paying. Other ones too, like I don't think it's always fair and maybe not always accurate, but I think your commitment to your physical self, your commitment to your own health and wellness, both mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, like, is a part of masculinity. And that's a price that's similar to the being uncomfortable, comfortably uncomfortable. That's a price that some people aren't willing to pay. Like, they may focus on the gym, but they'll let go of the emotional, spiritual, and mental part of their health, right? Or they may be like this wonderful spiritual yogi guy, but they couldn't change a tire on their car or lift a bag of groceries, and so I do feel like there's a small component to masculinity that is related to how well that person can provide safety, like physical safety for their woman, not just emotional safety. I think emotional safety is an even bigger component, though, and I think that's where a lot of us fail as men, is like we don't have that willingness to connect, and or again to be vulnerable, and so we can't even provide safety, like, or we're just full of judgment instead of compassion and understanding, which I think is a huge piece of masculinity. Mature healthy masculinity is going to have compassion and understanding in it. It's not going to be fucking my way or the highway. Don't get me wrong, that person's going to lead, right? An alpha male is going to lead, but the real good alpha males, they'll take information from everywhere. They'll make a decision based on information anywhere they can get it without ego involved. They may disagree, but they're going to listen to that information and they're going to fucking make a decision. They're going to do it. So to just like cut people out because of judgment, or to not listen to somebody, particularly a lover or a spouse, like that's not masculine. That's fucking childish bullshit.
So tell me about the leading. How is that? How does that look for a man to be in his alpha place and his masculine energy and to lead?
Yeah, I love that question. For me, the way I feel as I sit here today, because I'm sure this is an evolutionary process as we continue to learn and grow. As I sit here today, an alpha male leads really in everything. He really walks into a room, he owns the room. It could be um, texting his girl and saying, "Hey, clear your schedule this weekend. I got plans for you," and packs a bag for her, and the whole thing. It could be like kind of extreme that way, where he even like fucking packs her bag, right? But depending on that relationship, that alpha male could be like, hey, like I know babysitters are a problem, so this is a weekend, I want to plan it. I've already got some plans. Can we get kids for this? Like, let's say they're not married, for example, and they're just dating. Like, can you arrange that? Maybe that guy took some steps to call her friends and make arrangements for her. Like, that's a cool step. They should do that. So it's ordering food for her at a restaurant. Like, like I mean, you know how many guys don't do that? Like, what do you want, baby? Like, what are you feeling like? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But in my experience, when you know your woman well enough that you can order for her, then fucking order for her. Like, and if you don't know your woman well enough and you don't have a connection with her well enough that you don't feel comfortable ordering for her, then fix the fuck out of that. Like, again, so alpha male leadership really could be in everything. And the way it translates and feels is this beautiful alchemy of yin and yang, where she then gives all of herself to you, all of herself to you. And I think a lot of guys are just missing out on that. And so they have this conflict. They have this conflict with the women that they're dating or in relationships with because they're not masculine enough. And so the women, unsurprisingly, are withholding and are a little edgy. Probably also underfucked, like with that's a whole nother topic, but right, like all of this is related though. And so yeah, an alpha male will lead in every single thing. But again, I think that's very, very important to say with kindness, with compassion, with understanding. It's direct leadership, but it's still compassionate and it's kind. It's also bold and it's also pretty unwavering because like that confidence is there. It's not cockiness, it's confidence. It's self-esteem, right? It's that relationship with yourself, like that you have. Like that's why when an alpha male walks into a room, they're not cocky, but they know they own the room. They just do. That's their room when they're in it. And so, yeah, fuck yeah. Like that's how it should be.
So you mentioned the good fucking element that if your woman is underfucked, right?
Yes.
So how do
Yes.
you, apart from the obvious, but make sure that your woman is well fucked? What does that look like to you? Like how does that, what are the steps to taking that in as your duty as a masculine man?
I'll tell you what, it's a lot more than you think. Like fucking a woman to make sure they're not underfucked is a lot more than I think guys think. It's a lot, and they better fucking keep up and get their stamina up. It's a lot more than they think. Because what is it? It's sometimes it's two, three, four times a day. Like it depends, like on her mood and what she needs. And it's also a form of worship and reverence towards her, which isn't, by the way, giving up masculinity. It's honoring femininity as an equal. Like that's what it is. Like it is. It's just an equal. So it's worshiping her like she worships you. Because you stand on your masculine, she'll worship you and adore your cock and so forth. So when it comes to fucking her, like it should always be a fuck yes. Like if she is having a bad day, you should fuck her. If she's having a great day, you should fuck her. Like you should surprise fuck her. You should do a quickie sometimes and fuck her that way. You should schedule your sex dates out and fuck her for 2 or 3 hours on a Saturday and like 1.5 to 2 hours a couple other times because it's scheduled. And you should also fuck her the same morning. Just surprise her, like, I know we got a date later, but I really need to fuck you right now. Or it looks like you need to be fucked. Bend over, pin her against the wall, just fucking fuck her. Get on your knees and eat her out. Like whatever it is that you're feeling from her energetic connection. And again, if you don't have that connection, what the fuck are you doing? Fix that. But you have that connection with her, read it, feel it, fuck her. Always fuck her. Always. And it's a lot. So giddy up and buckle up.
What, I love it. What else would you add to the list of keeping that masculine alpha male energy going? What else is important? The prices of admission.
A lot of determination and grit. So masculinity just energetically feels like this strong base that can hold someone else, hold space for someone, hold energy. It's just strong. So like when things are hard, when things are tough, like people have to just stop making men have to stop making excuses. They just do. They have to stop lying to themselves and with justifications as to why they don't have to keep going or None of that bullshit. So that's a very difficult price to pay, in a culture and a society that I think is pretty worldwide. I think it's a fucking pandemic. You have men that are just willing to quit. It's just hard. It's a hard conversation. Don't have it. It's like, I'm gonna go run 5 miles today. And 3 miles in, you're like, it's really hot. I live in Arizona. It's really hot. Okay, but you said you're gonna run 5 miles. So now you got an integrity issue and you got a quitter attitude. Like, you're you're just chipping away at your masculinity. So you're gonna show back up at home, having run shorter than you said you were gonna. Your woman's gonna think you're a weak ass punk. And
And
she's
you
right.
will too. You will too.
Yeah.
Even though you're
Yeah.
making the choice,
Yes.
you're going to
Yes.
internalize that as your own self image.
And the truth is that's more important, right? Your view of yourself is actually more important than anybody else's view, including your partner. But yeah, so people they just rob from their own masculinity all the time, in this way of just not having enough no quit, right? Not having enough grit, not having enough determination, not having enough commitment, not even really understanding what commitment is. And so, um, I think that's a huge price that people aren't paying. And by the way, it feels fucking good to pay that price. That's the other thing. If people would just actually try it on and just try living this way, like do a fucking experiment, give yourself a week of not quitting a single thing and see how that feels. I guarantee you it feels better than all the other times that they've had their fucking bullshit excuses.
And you use the word integrity in there as well, which is one of my favorite words in the English
Mine
language
too.
concepts.
Mine too.
So, what does that mean then? Because you said you've not kept your word to yourself. So, tell me more about the importance of integrity as a man.
Yeah, integrity is huge. It's obviously going to affect your relationship, right, with your partner, but more importantly, again, just focusing on yourself as a man and this whole masculinity concept we're talking about today. Um, your word means everything, and integrity to me, like the basic definition of doing what you're going to say. Do what you say you're going to do, even if no one's watching. Okay, great, but like it's so much deeper than that. But even that is a hang up for most people. Like they can't even get beyond that, but there's so much more to integrity in my opinion. Like how about that implied integrity where like you never said you would but you should. Are you honoring that if you're going to not keep your integrity? Because sometimes, like here's a good example. You can say, hey baby, I'm going to be home at 7 tonight, and let's say it's 6:45 and you're still 30 minutes away. A person with integrity would soon as they know that they're not able to keep their word, then they would inform the other person, hey, like for me, it's often like a court scenario. I don't have control over that as an attorney, like what the courts are doing sometimes, right? And I can just get stuck. But as soon as I know that I can't keep my word, that I won't be able to be there at 7, then to keep your integrity, then in that moment, not like when you feel like it, but in that moment, you acknowledge the other person and say, hey, I'm not able to keep my word right here with this, but you can keep your integrity by making that kind of a phone call and pairing it with a conversation of, I'm really sorry, baby. Like, what can I do to like clean up anything that this might have impacted in your life? Because then with that kind of a relationship and foundation integrity, then your lover at this point or your partner will be able to go, oh, like if he says 7, he fucking means 7. And if so, she can start planning like, okay, I'm gonna leave at like 7:05 to go for a run, but because he'll be here for the kids. Like, but if you don't have that kind of trust because integrity isn't there, then like your whole relationship is like has this ceiling on it in terms of capacity with each other and what you're capable of feeling for each other, the connection you feel for each other, what you're capable of doing out in the world, all limited just because one person doesn't keep their integrity. So yeah, I mean, you might sometimes not be able to keep your word. That's the real life sometimes for people is you might not be able to keep your word, but you can keep your integrity by like offering to acknowledge it right in the moment. And what can you do to clean it up? Right now, if it's your own fault, you're not paying attention to the time and you're that kind of a dick and you're like, oh yeah, I'm not going to be there on time. Well, thank you for calling. That's better than not mentioning anything and just showing up at 7:30, right? Like who the fuck does that and feels like that they've got any kind of honor inside of them, right? Like no one really. So they're going to just chip away at their own relationship with themselves again, and that's going to affect their sexual relationship. But in the case where it's not your fault, like you still need to honor it, right? And try to fix it. Right. And if it is your fault, you still need to honor it and fix it. Like, I'm sorry, I fucked up. I didn't pay attention to the time. I got wrapped up in this project, but I want to keep my integrity with you. So I'm sorry I can't keep my word right now in this moment because I didn't pay attention to the time. But baby, how can I clean this up for you? Is there anything I can do that you need right now that will help you to keep your schedule? 99% of the time, if it's only like a few minutes late, for example, no, it's no big deal. I'll see you when you get here, baby. Great. But that's even more important. Even more important, Kim, you're 3 minutes late and you're going to call as soon as you know you're going to be 3 minutes late. Right? Imagine a relationship where somebody treated you that way, where like you just knew what they fucking said they were going to do. And even beyond that, they might have a idea of what you need or what they're supposed to do. And they're going to honor that too, even without having said that they're going to. They're just going to do it because they're a man of integrity. And so that's the masculinity energy approach I think that a lot of people are missing out on too. That's too high price to pay. Keeping their integrity, that's hard. It shouldn't be. I think it's harder not to.
I think the long-term cost of it is much harder.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a discipline. It's what else do you think it requires to do that though in the moment?
I think it takes respect for yourself and the person that you're interacting with. In fact, almost always a breach of integrity is one of the most disrespectful things you can demonstrate to somebody else. It just sucks, right? Like they may only feel it a little bit, but those little bits are going to stack on top of each other, and they're going to have this underlying feeling of like, I'm disrespected. I'm not that important. You know, we all have had family gatherings probably where that one brother or that one sister is like an hour late and everybody's waiting to eat dinner until they get there. And they really have no reason. They literally just, you know, took their time to come. And like that sucks, right? Like it just really like so, but in a relationship where you're trying to build this like beautiful life together and have these amazing transformative sexual experiences, like for fuck's sake, keep your integrity. Because you're just chipping away at it each time. Like you're chipping away at that relationship each time. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I get really passionate about
I
some of that
love
stuff.
it.
Like,
I love it. Is there anything else you want to add to that list of things for
or
alpha masculine
for
energy prices of admission? Yeah.
the prices of admission. Uh, I think another one that's hard is humility. I think a lot of people struggle with that. I think people have a hard time. Men who kind of project what they think an alpha male is onto somebody and what the standard is, they don't recognize humility as being one of those key ingredients, right? Or a price of admission. And so, you know, it's hard. It's just hard for people in general, but I think for men to actually be humble, recognize their weaknesses, recognize their strengths, recognize where they can improve. It's similar to vulnerability, but it's different. Humility is just different. And you know, there's a little bit of probably personal and spiritual growth there that not everybody's willing to pay the price to get to have some of those character traits so that they can round out their masculinity into this full embodied mature masculinity. And so it's kind of like one of those diagrams that looks like a splotch, like they might like stretch out big in this area. They might have a really good chunk of this masculinity kind of nailed down, but they might be super weak over here because this they're not going to pay that price. And so um yeah, humility is one I think that's really hard for people. It's another one. I mean, there's kind of a lot, but it's a big topic. Love it though. It's a good topic.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite topics.
Yeah, mine too. For sure. What else? What else do you want to know? I'm yours right now.
I think that's a really good summary of all of the, like, I really love this conversation about the masculine and these qualities because that's such gold to be, to really consider and to focus on. So, what would be your parting words to people?
All right. I I would say trust the process. Don't give up. I would say have patience with some of the things that might feel hard or impossible to stick with it. And I would also say like find that space where you can just like not get enough of this kind of work, like just love it and eat it up so that you can actually like enjoy the transformations that come from doing this kind of work. To the men, I would say stop making excuses, stop lying to yourself as to who you're not, right? And who you are. Make the changes necessary so that you can actually have the sex that your soul craves. Make the changes necessary so that your lover can have the sex that her soul craves. Like, lean into that kind of joy. Like, go through the uncomfortable, clear the glass, do what you need to do, own your shit, and like actually start living life. One of my biggest like personal mantras is to live free. Like just live free. Like the only prison most of us will ever see is the ones we put ourselves in. And so like stop that shit. Like break down old barriers, clear out old stories, heal from old wounds, like do the work so that you can live free and and enjoy just fucking gourmet, wild, mind-blowing sex because that's awesome and you can never have enough of that. And I guarantee your woman won't be able to have enough of it. So I guess that's what I'd say.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ben.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
If you're ready to tap into your alpha supercock energy in all areas of your life, check out my Sexual Mastery for Men salon. In my 8-week online program for men, you will learn orgasms without ejaculation, every man can, how to last longer in bed and have complete control, how to use your sexual energy as a power source, increasing your vitality, confidence, and cash flow. Yes, they are all connected. Organically grown cock. Boost your length, girth, and strength. Totally legit. Orgasmopedia, the guide to all female orgasms, especially the deeper G-spot, squirting, and cervical orgasms. And owning your dominant, divine, and dark masculine energy. Alphas for everyone. The salon contains everything you need to level up in your sexual mastery and dominate in your life. To sign up, go to kimanami.com/stamina. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and send somebody else the gift of a multi-orgasmic and transformational love life by sharing this episode with them. If you'd like to go deeper into all things orgasms, sign up for my free Orgasmopedia series where you'll learn about 9 different types of orgasms everyone can have. Go to kimanami.com and you'll see the sign up there. Come one, come all.